Welcome to video 2 of my E3 series. As always, I have my faithful pet, Cringe Watchdog, here with me. I don't want to have a long-winded intro here since we did that last video, so we'll just jump right into the fun. Let's go.
This is the Xbox E3 2018 briefing.
The Microsoft conference starts out with some mysterious shit. Do you see a pattern here with conferences and big reveals? They know that you're going to roll your eyes at it, so they leave that information out so you'll hope it's something new and interesting. This is something they all do. Unfortunately, the in-game footage looks dated already. Then, the big reveal. Halo Infinite. Man, I haven't played a Halo since 3. I figured the series was dead, but apparently not. I just sat there praying it wasn't another Battle Royale game. Then Phil Spencer comes up on stage and starts talking about FanFest something or another. Good lord, nobody cares. How hard is it to grasp that people don't want to hear about this crap? We go to E3 for the games, we watch the E3 conferences for the games. Not to watch a guy who's probably never played a video game in his life talk about stuff at E3 that isn't even a game. Finally, Phil Spencer mentions they're going to be showing off 50 games for this conference. What's the odds that most of these games are going to be indies or cancelled a month in? Take your bets, kids. Of course we start mediocre with an indie title. Well, it's a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, it looks like. Not a great start for a conference that touts that it's going to have 18 exclusives. Well, they quickly move on to some Eastern-themed game, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, I think it's called. It's actually looking pretty solid. Is this one of the exclusives? If so, the Xbox might actually have a game to play that isn't Halo. That's great for the Microsoft holdouts. Then Todd Howard comes out and gives us a world premiere of Fallout 76. I'll admit, I'm a fan of Fallout, so I'm willing to give Tiny Todd a chance to show off his new game. The song pretty much confirms it takes place in West Virginia, and from what they show, it looks good. No real gameplay, which annoys the hell out of me for a game that we can apparently pre-order this month, but, you know. Oh lord, a Life is Strange spinoff. Just judging by the trailer, they're trying to capture your childhood. This sort of gameplay seems like it's probably some sort of prototype that they decided to move forward on. Like, it doesn't really look like they've planned it all out perfectly. But hey, at least it's free. Now it's time for Crackdown 3. I really enjoyed the first game, but never played the sequel, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this game does. I think it would have been more relevant 5 years ago, but better late than never, I guess. And of course we have the Game of the Year edition for Nier, nothing too crazy there. Apparently the game was good. Xbox One enhanced. That's just code for it's almost on par with the PC edition's graphics. I'd love to be able to comment more on some of these games, but I've never touched most of them, so I can only speculate. This is for the most part why I've always skipped Microsoft's conferences. I never really had a horse in the races. The new Metro game does look good though, so already Microsoft's conference is leagues better than Electronic Arts, but that's a pretty low hurdle to jump. Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming to Xbox for the first time in forever. It shows off the new Frozen world and some new stuff from the other previously announced worlds, but man, are there going to be some salty Sony kids after this announcement. Woo boy! Then a Sea of Thieves expansion announcement. I wasn't even aware anyone was still playing this game, considering it launched as a quarter of a game, but that's great for the 300 or 400 people still playing Pirate Fetch Quest Simulator. Then we get some Battlefield 5 story stuff. As expected, no gameplay, just basically back where we started, ultimately, with the original announcement during the EA conference. Next up, we have a new Forza game. Seriously, who keeps buying these games? It seems so niche, I'll never understand the appeal. Worse, every year they do this shit with Forza, and every year it kills momentum. I was just shocked they didn't bring a car on stage this year. Then we get some people playing the game, and they keep introducing the people instead of playing the game. Holy shit, we get it, just play the fucking game! The guy goes on and on about all these things like dynamic weather / seasons, 60 FPS, and online multiplayer. Like, these are new features in video games. You gotta give him credit for his enthusiasm, but boy, racing games are boring. Keep that shit off the conference or keep it short. Then Phil Spencer comes back on stage to talk about, I don't know, new studios they've created or acquired or something. I may have dozed off for a bit there, but I was awake enough to notice no one cheered for half of Microsoft's acquisitions. Now, let's hope that Microsoft doesn't destroy these acquisitions like they did to poor Rare. I haven't forgotten, Phil Spencer, you fucking hack. Anyway, they give us a trailer for We Happy Few. I forgot all about this game. Figure they canceled it, but nah, they just threw it on Steam Early Access, yanked it off back in February, and I guess it's coming back finally. Good for them. PUBG. Man, Battle Royale really is becoming a meme. The jokes just write themselves. I hear the console versions are awful. The funniest part about all of this is that they claim PUBG to be an Xbox exclusive. I guess they're really underestimating the intelligence of the average viewer, cause wow, that is a bold-faced lie. And it's time for anime. Tales of Vesparia Definitive Edition. As if Forza didn't make this conference lose a ton of steam, this definitely does not help. Tales games are solid RPGs, don't get me wrong, so I can't say anything bad about it, but they're all getting confusing. They definitely need a better naming scheme for sure. Then we get yet another cryptic trailer, this time for The Division 2. I guess you might know better if you played the first one and caught the lore, but it took me till the end to realize it. At least they gave us gameplay, however scripted it might be, but just like with the first Division, actual graphics may vary. Next, the most unenthusiastic woman I've ever seen comes on stage to announce something called faststart, which apparently launches games up to twice as fast as normal. Yet again, the audience doesn't seem to wake up. Be sure to go out and get a Game Pass, kids, so you can play all the games you already have and been out for years already, but in glorious 4K. Then we get a montage of games that, I assume, are going to be on Game Pass. I haven't heard of most of the games in the montage. I assume that's the catch. They're putting all the indie games no one would play or buy on Game Pass so you can rent them instead. Remember earlier when they said they'd be showing us 50 games? There goes 30 of them. Don't blink or you'll miss it. Finally, something halfway decent. That is to say, the new Tomb Raider sequel. Not a whole lot to say here. Trailer looks great. I've been meaning to play this series, or at least the first one. I'll get around to it eventually. One day. Hopefully. It's the first good news of this entire conference. Devil May Cry 5. The gameplay looks pretty crazy, exactly what I expect from a game like this. It's chaotic and silly, and I love everything about it. Here's hoping it turns out to be a good game. Afterwards, they bring the developer on stage to basically say what didn't really need to be said. They wanted to make Devil May Cry 5, and they did it. Anything to pad out the conference, I guess. It's neat to see that Cuphead is finally going to be getting some of that new stuff that they were promising a long time ago. I'm always down for some more Cuphead, so I'm really looking forward to that. Then they introduced Tunic, giving us a little gameplay in their trailer, which is nice. Not only does the game look cute, but it has a comfy design, and also seems like it'll scratch that Zelda itch a little bit. The last few games are supposedly world premieres. First up is an anime crossover game. I'm a simple man. I see One Piece and I stand up and take interest. It's a flashy little title too, called Jump Force. It seems like it takes from the previous Jump crossover fighting game, which wasn't that great of a game, so hopefully they do something to spice things up a little bit this time around. The second world premiere seems to be the sequel to Dying Light. Chris Avellone then comes out on stage, probably to tell you that your decision in the game world has consequences.
Today, however, we want to give you a look at one of the impressive new features of Dying Light 2, a technical and narrative advancement for the franchise. Dying Light 2 will be the first in its genre where your choices have genuine consequences in the game itself.
I totally called that shit. Third up, apparently, they've decided to bring a meme to life by giving us a new Battletoads game. There's no gameplay, or really even a trailer, sadly, but the promises seem lofty. On the plus side, Microsoft has officially won E3. Pack it up, Sony and Nintendo. Fourth, the new Just Cause. I'm a big fan of the Just Cause series, so I'll be trying to grab this one if I can, because it's mindless fun that lets you do whatever you want and destroy all kinds of shit. I never got around to finishing them because there's just way too much stuff to do and I'll never 100% these. Finally, they tease us with Gears of War, but then give us a trailer for Funko Pops for Gears of War characters. I'm a very vocal opponent of Funko Pop. It's cheap, ugly plastic shit in my opinion, and I'll never understand why people buy them. Anyway, they announced an XCOM-like strategy Gears of War 5, and for some reason they mention a mobile game. So at least there's a happy ending here. Imagine how pissed people would have been if it was just the Funko Pops. Yikes. Still, 3 games? Microsoft really blew their load here. I guess they were expecting it to get more hype. The rest of the conference is basically Phil Spencer bragging about how they've just shown a bunch of games. Oh, hey there, cringe watchdog. Where you been, little buddy? Yeah, then they do a hilarious bait and switch and do a fake hacking to introduce a trailer for Cyberpunk 2077. The trailer looks great, but the execution was cringe. Points for effort, though. Actually, to be completely honest with you, I thought their Windows 10 machines were just crashing or something. Like, I wouldn't put it past them. At the very least, Microsoft's conference did well. It was much more enjoyable than the Electronic Arts one for sure, but even that wasn't able to get the audience much more excited, obvious by the fact that people barely cheered and clapped, even for the genuinely exciting stuff. Microsoft may have done better than EA, but it's still pretty shrug-worthy, and I can't really say I approve of the quantity over quality and rush hour stop and grow approaches to their conference. Maybe they were trying something new, maybe next year we'll see an improvement. For those of you who haven't been keeping track at home, the E3 leaks hit a lot of the really safe guesses like Gears of War 5, Halo 6, Sea of Thieves, and Crackdown 3, but misses with pretty much almost all the other details. As if we needed more evidence that the leak was debunked. Thanks for hanging out with me today. You know the drill, subscribe if you like me, follow me on social media, so on and so forth. See you next video.